Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Derri, and if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and also make sure you're following me on Instagram. So let's go ahead and get right into this video. Today I'm going to be talking about my life as a floater pharmacist, the pros of it, the cons of it, do I like it, how does our scheduling work, how far do I have to drive, do we get paid mileage? So if you're interested in seeing how my life as a floater pharmacist is, just stay tuned. Alrighty, so I made a little list to try to keep my thoughts in track and keep this video on track because I don't want it to be too long, but I just want to give you all a quick brief overview of how being a floater pharmacist is. So let's start out with scheduling and how they do our schedules. I was hired as a 32-hour full-time modified pharmacist, which basically means I'm guaranteed to work 32 hours a week and I get full-time benefits, so I don't work 40 hours a week. However, they don't really do the scheduling like that because some weeks I might work more than 32 hours, some weeks I might work less than 32 hours a week. They schedule us in 4-week increments called periods. And so if you do 32 times 4, you get 128 hours. Basically, they will schedule us 128 hours in a 4-week period. So that is what I'm salaried at, the 128. Now, any hour I work over 128 hours, I will get a separate check called a shift differential, and that will be paid to me in a separate check at the same time that I get paid. So every so often I do work more than 128 hours per period. Last period I actually worked 157 hours for the last period. So my next check is gonna be looking right because full-time or 40-hour pharmacists, their period is 160 hours. So I almost worked like a full 40-hour a week shift period last month because I worked 157 hours, which I don't mind working 157 hours or more than my 128 hours every now and then because it does give me extra supplemental money that, you know, I like to get a little extra money here and there, but I'm definitely fine with what I get base pay. I just don't want to work it like a lot, you know. I kind of like the 32 hours a week thing, you know. I'm not really full-time, like 40 hours, so I feel more relaxed, especially working in like a stressful environment like I do. So I definitely am not pressed to work 160 hours, if that makes sense. Granted, I did start working after they made that change. So the pharmacists that were working before they made the 160-hour to 128-hour change, you know, they definitely were not happy about that. But thankfully, that's all I've ever known, so it works for me. So I work various hours. I work opening shifts, closing shifts. As a floater, we get to be on call 1 weekend a month. So basically, I don't work the weekends. I work Monday through Friday. And every now and then I'll be on call. I think it's like every 3rd weekend I'll be on call that weekend. And if they call me, they call me. If they don't, they don't. Now, if they do call me, that will be extra hours added to my shift differential. Like when I picked up those 2 extra shifts last period, those were weekend shifts. So that was added to my shift differential. And anytime I pick up any extra shifts in general, that adds to my shift differential. Now, people send out PTO emails all the time. You can always pick up extra shifts if you want. So if you're a pharmacist and you're scheduled or you're hired as a 128-hour a period pharmacist, you can always pick up extra shifts to get your hours to be more than what you would like them to be, because people send out PTO emails all the time, like every day I check my email, there's at least like 3 or 4 PTO emails. And as a floater pharmacist, I don't really have control over my schedule as like a staff pharmacist in a store would, because if you're in a store and there's 3 pharmacists in the store, you kind of make your own store schedule and then you try to work around each other. As a floater pharmacist, I'm under the scheduling direction of the scheduling team. So basically, I will go in and put in requests for days that I need off, or like for instance, now that I go to the orthodontist, I just make like a request like, hey, August 3rd, I have an orthodontist appointment at 8 o'clock. So they'll either not schedule me that day or they'll just schedule me for a later shift that day. So you just go in and make, you know, requests for things that you want to be, or days that you want to be off. If you have a doctor's appointment, you got something to do, you're going to be out of town, you'll just make those requests on the scheduling. But you have to do it at least a month in advance because, like I said, they make our schedules every 4 weeks. And I like that because I know what I'm doing for the next 4 weeks. I can plan my life around that, and I don't have to wait till the last minute. So I definitely like how they do that. I definitely like the on-call schedule situation because I know every third weekend I'm on call. So either I plan to stay around the house or, you know, near the area where I live at. I don't plan to do anything far away because I know if I get called in, I'll have to go to work. So you know, I like it. I like working Monday through Friday, you know, weekend here and there maybe, because I mean for the first 3 or 4 months I didn't get called in. I actually switched on-call weekends with someone one time, and that was the only time I got called in for my on-call weekend. But the only thing about the on-call weekends is that it seems like they always fall on weekends I have something to do. Like every on-call weekend, I swear, is like a weekend that I have something to do. So I'll either like try to get someone to switch on-call weekends with me. Like if I'm on call the first weekend, I'll try to switch with someone else that's on call later on in the month. And that usually works out for me. So yeah, that's how the requests go. That's how scheduling is. That's how the hours all run together. So quick summary, 32-hour full-time modified pharmacist, which equals 128 hours for 4 weeks. I'm on call 1 weekend out of those 4 weeks. I work Monday through Friday, and they just schedule me how they feel or however they need to make sure I'm guaranteed my 128 hours for the period. So next, let's talk about the pay schedule. So like I was telling you, if I work any hours over 128 hours, I will get a separate check, which is great. We get paid once a month. And at first I was like, dang, once a month? Like that's a long time to wait. Because as an intern at the same company, we got paid every week. So I was like going from every week to once a month. I'm like, that's crazy, you know. But I actually like getting paid once a month. It's not that bad like people make it seem, because I get paid once a month. I pay all my bills the day I get paid because that's just the way I am. You know, if you've seen my pharmacy school budgeting video, I pay all my bills the day I get paid, and that way I know what I have to work with for the rest of the month, which is usually a pretty good amount. And I've still been saving a lot of money. In the next video, we're gonna start talking about what I plan to do about these student loans, because yes, they are high, people. My student loans are high. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, but you know, I'm not gonna go too much into detail about that right now because that's a whole nother story. Distance travel. So some people are like, oh, I don't want to be a floater. I just want to be at a store. That way you don't have to drive to different places. You don't know where you're going. So that doesn't scare me. At first, I was so set on being at the store I was an intern at because I was comfortable there. I wanted to be there, but that store was busy. Like that store is really busy, and it's really stressful once you become a pharmacist. So I was at the store I was an intern at for about a month and a half because one of the pharmacists had a baby. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is interesting. So when I did finally have to go out and start floating, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared at first because I wasn't sure how everything was gonna work. I wasn't sure how the techs were gonna be receptive to me, if they were gonna like me. I just didn't know what to expect. So as I started floating, I just grew to love it. You know, I go to a different store, I do my job, and I leave. You know, I handle my business, I fix any problems, I, you know, verify the prescriptions, counsel patients when needed, and I go home. I don't have to think about, you know, inventory, techs not coming into work. I don't have to think about hiring techs, firing techs, none of that. So, you know, I really like that aspect of it. You know, I'm getting paid the same amount as a regular staff pharmacist at a store, but I don't have to deal with all the background responsibility, if that makes sense, like the inventory, the cleaning of the pharmacy, keeping everything in check, you know, things like that. I do my job and I go home. Now, they try to keep me in a certain area for floating. So like I'm in my city, I'm in about 3-4 surrounding cities of my area. So I don't really go too far. The farthest I've been was about 40 minutes or so. No, the furthest I've been is like an hour away, and that was for 2 shifts. And honestly, I didn't mind. That store was a very slow store, and I was there all day. I was there 9 to 8 both of the days that I was there. But it was a total of, I believe it was like 50 miles away from my house. So one way. So that was 100 miles. So that mileage check was but I've only had to do that twice. So they tried, like I said, to keep me in the same area, floating it with the same stores. That way, you know, I do kind of know the techs. They know me, and it's not like I'm brand new every single time that I go to a different store. So I do like that aspect of it. Like I was talking about mileage. As a floater, I do get paid mileage. So basically, I will take a picture of my car mileage when I get in the car that morning or whenever. And then when I get to my pharmacy, I will take another picture of my mileage, and then I will subtract out the how long it took me to get there, or how far it took me to get there. So for instance, let's say it takes me 30 miles to get there. That's one way. So 30 plus 30 equals 60 miles round trip. Now, as a base fee or base mileage fee, they make you subtract 20 miles because 20 miles is like the standard work commute. So I'll do 30 plus 30 equals 60, and then we'll minus out the 20 miles for the standard commute, which is 40 miles, and then we get paid 50 cents per mile. So a total of 40 miles will be $20 that I just made for going to a store, which isn't bad. So basically, I get paid a mileage check every month, and then mostly, for the most part, I have been working more than 128 hours, but not like a lot over. I mean, I might work, I basically average at about 131 hours every period, so I always get like a little differential check. Last month, I was at the same store like almost a whole month, and that store, I get $25 every day I go because of mileage, just how far away it is. And it's really not that bad of a drive to me. I go south on the expressway, so it's no traffic because it's in a more rural country area. But I made $25 every time I worked at that store last month, and I worked at that store at least 10 times last month. So you do the math. So I don't mind floating. I like floating, and I think that I'm a great strong floater because I started out working at a busy store. So I think that really helped me out with being a floater, because when I was an intern, I hated to see floaters coming. I was like, oh my gosh, we got a floater. They're gonna mess up everything because they don't know how to work in a fast-paced environment. So I think that working in a busy store as an intern really prepared me to be a great pharmacist when I'm floating, because I can handle any workload. I can handle a fast work pace. I can handle a slow. I mean, but it's like if you were working in a slow work pace, you know, you chilling every day, and then you go to a store that's super busy, that really stresses pharmacists out. And I've noticed that when I was an intern. So I am thankful for working at a busy store as an intern, because, you know, when I come in, the techs don't cringe. They don't be like, oh, Derri's here. They're like, yay, Derri, I'm so glad you're here. And I'm not even gonna lie, that makes me feel good when techs tell me that, and I get told that a lot. So quickly, the pros and the cons. So the pros: one, I'm not at the same store every day. So if it's a busy store, I'm not at a busy store every day. I just kind of vary. Some days I'm at a busy store, some days I'm at a slower store. Two is that I don't have to deal with scheduling techs, which is a pretty good thing for me. I have to deal with scheduling techs or hiring techs. Three, I get paid mileage, which is great. And four, I don't really have to deal with all the main responsibilities of a pharmacy, if that makes sense. Just the upkeep of the pharmacy, the signing of this, the signing of that. I don't have to do all that. Now, when the orders come in, I do have to sign for that, and I do get vaccines still. I do all the paperwork and everything like that. I just file it away when I leave, but I don't have to do all the store maintenance stuff. Cons of floating: I have floated to a few sketchy areas that I did not drive my car to. I drove my husband's old his 4Runner, or his Macmobile, what I call it. I drove his 4Runner to work those days because I just got my Mustang, and I was not driving my new car to those areas. So I have worked in a few sketchy places, and I didn't work there like that long. I think I worked 1 or 2 shifts here and there, but you know, that's one of the cons of floating, is that you might have to work in a sketchy area. Two, another con is that you don't have control over your scheduling. You have to do what the scheduling team puts out, or, you know, try to work out a switch here and there. Another con would be on-call weekends might not fall on the weekend you want them to, I guess. That would be like the only other con. like I said, in my situation, I feel like the pros outweigh the cons. I love being a floater. They want me to go to a store. They have a store in my hometown that's like 10 minutes away from my house that they want to put me in. I'm actually working there now for the next 2 months. They want me to stay, but I have asked or requested to remain a floater because I just like floating better. And they're like, why do you want to float? You don't want to stay at this store. It's like 10 minutes from your house. You know, I could probably work around my schedule here and there, but I just don't want to work in a store. I just don't want to be at the same place every day. I think that would really annoy me. I like going to different places. I like seeing different people. So I have emphasized to my district manager that I do not want to stay at that store. I want to float. And she hears me, so we'll see. You know, I kind of feel like in the back of my mind they're gonna keep me stuck at that store, but I'll let you guys know in 2 months. They said that I have to stay there until the new graduates get licensed, and apparently a lot of our new graduates or new hires are from Alabama, so they're in the process of getting their Alabama and Georgia license. So we're waiting on them to get licensed to see if anybody wants to be at that store permanently, and I can go back to floating. I feel like I'm happier as a floater than being at one store. And yeah, if you all have any questions about my floating lifestyle or anything like that, leave them down below. I love answering questions. I love talking about pharmacy or my life as a pharmacist and how my life has changed since being a pharmacist. So if you have any questions at all, just leave them down below. I'll be happy to comment or reply back. And yeah, like I said, in the next video about pharmacy, I'm gonna start talking about tackling these student loans. Y'all don't even want to know how much I owe in student loans. Your girl got 3 degrees, and you know, when you're in a situation like your family can't pay for you to go to school, and you want to be of a higher level degree, you're gonna have loans. So anyways, we'll talk about that next in the next video. So if you guys want to see how that goes, make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Make sure you have that notification bell turned on so you can know when I post that video. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.